Yo, I'm Drunky.
I'm the Flood.
And welcome to the Fortnite Update, where we talk about patch notes, esports, and all the news related to Fortnite. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. For our audio listeners, make sure you drop a 5-star rating and leave a review on the podcast. Don't forget, share this podcast with everybody in your squad. It's September 27th. It's episode 6, the podcast. Let's start the update. So Flood, it's kind of fitting that this is the 6th episode of the Fortnite Update because it is the official launch day of Season 6. Season 5 is finally gone. Goodbye. Today,
everyone's so disappointed to lose it, you know?
So heartbreaking.
Sad to see it go.
Because today at 4 a.m. Eastern, Blizzard dropped patch 6.0 on us.
Mm-hmm.
So before we talk about our opinions on the changes in the patch notes and the battle passes and the map changes, we're just going to blitz through this patch notes for everyone so you can kind of like wrap your head around what's going on.
Get the update.
Get the update.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Fortnite update, baby. Get it.
All right.
You start us off.
All right. So starting off with the weapons and items in the Battle Royale. Brand new to the game, the Shadow Stones. The Shadow Stones are consumable, typically found around corrupted areas of the map. Using a Shadow Stone will apply Shadow Form for a brief period. While in Shadow Form, you are unable to use weapons. You become invisible to enemies while stationary. You become more visible and leave a shadow trail when you are moving. You gain increased movement speed, jump height, and fall damage immunity. You also gain an ability to phase. When you activate it by using your primary fire, you can phase forward, phasing through objects. This effect will last for 45 seconds, but it can be exited earlier by holding down your alternative fire button. In this patch, they also vaulted the impulse grenades, the suppressed SMG, the light machine gun, the bouncers, and the remote explosives. All of the weapons and items added to the vault in the patch 6.0 can still in the playgrounds mode. They added a momentum functionality to the grapplers. When hitting an object, vehicle, or player, its momentum will then be added to your launch force. This only happens when the momentum would be a net game. You cannot lose momentum. Grappler charges have been reduced from 15 to 10. Double barrel damage has been reduced from 143 and a 150 to 114 and 120. They also reduced dual pistol floor loot drops by about 0.60%. A couple of bug fixes. Players will no longer be launched with greater force than intended when using the grapplers. Using a grappler while using a launch pad will no longer carry or cause inventory functionality issues. The top half of a player model will no longer clip through walls when using a grappler while crouched. Thank you. Fixed a visual issue that could cause the plunger to be visible on the grappler while the projectile is active. Players are no longer prevented from changing equipment when firing the grappler while switching weapons. Adjusted the timing on the heavy sniper reload animation to more closely match the bullet when it's reloaded, and reduce the amount of force applied when shooting a vehicle with a shotgun.
But that's not all. There's also some other gameplay additions. They've changed the map a little bit. We've got new locations, the floating island. They've got the corrupted areas you mentioned where all the markings are when on the ground. The cornfields in Fatal Fields. Haunted castle above the graveyard area. Drop in and find the rest in-game, they said. There's a few little tweaks. Custom controller bindings. We don't care about you, console. I'm a dick. They also changed the storm circle. The storm circle, the wait time has been reduced, which means the time between circle changes is faster, but the storms actually move a little bit slower. I think that's a good change. Move the ATK horn to the D-pad. I told you I wasn't going to talk about controller people. I'm so sorry. Traps can no longer be placed on wire fences. You can now build through shopping carts.
Yes!
Whoa! That's about it, really. Other than that, there's performance optimizations and tweaks, and the audio changes. That's actually the big one. Let's get into that. Players will now have the option to lock their preferred music choice. Don't care about that as much as they change the processing of footsteps to add more contrast between the above and the below. Below steps now sound more echoey, like they're coming from the basement, Footsteps will decrease in pitch the further away they are below you, and increase in pitch the higher they are above you. The volume of footsteps blocked by terrain, buildings, or player-built structures has been increased slightly. Find more information on footstep audio. Increase the distance you can hear open glows and glider sounds. Increase the audio range for players skydiving to match that of the players gliding. Added a Doppler pitch effect to the gliding audio. And again, bug fixes.
Ooh, what
Let's
a patch.
talk about
Let's
this.
unpack the thing. All right, biggest thing to talk about. The new movement thing that's kind of the rift or the hot rocks of the season, these shadow stones.
Yeah.
So these shadow stones, they are found where all the corrupted runes that were, where all the antigrav fields were. These are where you're going to find your shadow stones. They last for the 45 seconds, like we talked about. What do you think about the shadow stones coming into the game?
When you first jump into this season, you're like, oh my God, what have they done? This is crazy. I never saw this coming. I can't imagine it's going to last. I don't think it's a great item. I think the rifts were way cooler than these. I think these have the potential for some really weird gameplay issues that feels very non-competitive. It feels very casual, fun, goofy, not actually competitive good. The 45-second lasting and the speed at which you move is great for getting into the zone. I'm glad that there's more areas and more of these shadow stones in the rifts, so you can actually make sure that you can get from the outskirts into the center. That is its primary function. Anything else that it's doing, I find, is kind of a gimmick. It is neat that you can phase through things. You can actually get inside the back ends of the trucks that you couldn't in before, which is that's kind of neat, I guess. But it's I don't know how I'm going to like it in terms of competitive and really serious gameplay. Yeah. But I'm sure it's fun and people have a good time with it.
I'm definitely having a good time with it. When I first saw it, I was like very skeptical. Ooh, I was very hesitant to think about what. I was a little nervous about it, to be honest, because I don't want people to be invisible inside of games. I've never liked stealth features inside of gaming. They've always been just a horrible idea for me. I think Epic's kind of hit a sweet spot with this. You are still visible when you're moving. Even when you're standing still, you can still slightly be seen by another player. What I do like about them is, unlike the Rift, when you use the Rift, everyone knew where you were and they could look up and they're tracking you. You know, all right, this guy's coming from Dusty. Keep an eye out for him. These can be used to kind of be a little bit more stealthy. While you can phase through stuff, I think the real advantage comes from being able to use the phase ability with propels you forward, being able to chain them together mid-air, so you can actually climb with them. Climbing the side of a mountain is actually pretty easy with this. I just think that's the more key feature there. You can kind of stealthily climb stuff. In competitive play, they're going to be a little weird. I don't think most competitive players would really want to phase into other people's tunnels and catacombs, because of when you go to take it off with the alt fire, there is a delay when you're trying to take it off.
The peekaboo.
The peekaboo, you're super vulnerable. And it's like you said, you're not able to shoot, you're not able to build while you're in your phase mode. So I think this is actually a very balanced stealth feature that they added to the game. I'm actually kind of impressed by it.
Yeah, I think you're probably hitting the nail on the head there. I think I'm still in the skepticism mode.
Sure. Let's talk about the vaulted items.
Oh my gosh.
So first off, impulse grenade. I kind of feel like that's not a big deal.
Yeah. Who is using them anymore anyway? The memes were done.
Yes. Suppress submachine guns. That's a big yikes for me, Flood. What about you?
Yeah, that was just kind of a why. Is this just because it was better than the P90 and you didn't want to admit it? Like, get out of here. I love that gun. That was a great gun.
It was a great gun. I do like that they're starting to take down the overall gun pool of the game. I think there's too many types of guns in the game. I just wish they would have kept this over the regular machine gun or the P90. Those I just think it was a better item than both of those. So I'm pretty sad. It was just, we were talking about earlier. It's like, oh, because it didn't have bloom, it had to go.
Yeah. Well, and just like the bounce pads, anything that we like has to go.
Has to go. Bouncers. What do you think about those?
I'm so sad about this one, man. Like, I used to feel like end game, it was a necessity to have a bouncer in your inventory because you need that protection from your build getting shattered. Now you don't have that, and you've got to find new ways, which is interesting. It ups the relevancy of porter rifts, it ups the relevancy of shockwave grenades and even grapplers. But bouncers were so much fun. And again, maybe they just thought that we've already clipped it to death on YouTube, but like, why'd you have to take away the thing we love? Anytime something is too good, they take it away from us.
They do. I feel bad for all the trick shotters in FaZe Clan who no longer have a way to trick shot in this game. I was shocked by the bouncers being taken away. It is I think, integral part of everyone's gameplay at this point. Not only is it good at retaking high ground when you really don't have a lot of options left, it's also one of the best disengage tools in the game.
Hmm.
Not only just getting away from a fight, now being up in a high build, you're vulnerable. You have very limited ways to jump down before someone knocks you and you take fall damage. The bouncer was just a clutch item that you actually had to use, has some game awareness and some sense. Like, all right, I'm getting shot down. I should have my bouncer ready to go, and I need to be on one of my floors when it falls. I'm shocked by the bouncer being removed.
Hmm. I'm blown away.
Light machine guns being vaulted. Eh,
Good.
good. Uh,
Get them up. I don't need them.
I guess I don't need them. I definitely didn't think they were a problem either. So I was just like, I probably would have.
It was such a non-event item though. Like I never wanted it. I never enjoyed it when I was against it. I never
Yeah,
enjoyed having it. It was just a dumb item. I get it out. As you say, lower the weapon pool without this item
sure.
that's completely irrelevant.
Another big ticket item being removed: the remote explosive C4 no longer is in the game.
Now we're
Ugh,
talking.
breathe easy. We can
Yeah.
all stop. Like you hear that thrown, you're just like, all right, you got a second one? Am I about to die without being able to do anything?
Yeah, yeah. Is this Tifu raining explosive power down upon me?
Uh,
It was overpowered. It was banned in certain scrims and certain
mhm,
items. It's always been too powerful. They did nerf it, and I did feel like that actually helped to carrying down the lore capacity. At least in pubs, I didn't find myself using it nearly as often or using that item slot because I could have less of them. But be gone with it. I'm happy with that. It's great.
yeah. I also think like the remote. I'm talking like in a Canadian. The remote explosives. I think that kind
It-
of goes hand in hand with the bouncers. Them feeling comfortable taking the bouncers out now that the C4 is gone. It's just not as
yeah,
easy to try to building down.
yeah.
Grappler charges being reduced from 15 to 10. You think it was
They
smart?
listened to our episode. They listened to our episode. That's what happened. They listened to you, Drunky. That was your idea.
Thank you. I totally didn't rip it
Mhm.
off of other streamers, but uh, do you think the 5 nerf was just enough, or do you think they gotta go a little bit further?
You know what? I think is actually. I feel like this might be the sweet spot for it. It's going to take a little more experimenting to find out, but I still really like the grappler. But they're going to be worn out much faster, so there's going to be less of them. But there still seem to be around. And I think combined with the double barrel nerf, I think that this is and because the bouncers are gone now too.
Mhm.
There's like that extreme mobility combo that is gone now, and I think that might be. I think we might be in a sweet spot for the grappler.
Sure. You just mentioned it, double barrel damage being reduced from
Mm.
143 and 150 to 114 and 120. That's
Mhm.
about 30 across the board. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. It means there's a lot less likely to have full health plus 2 minis and just be dead.
Yeah.
I think that's the critical point is you have to balance your meta around where your most common heals are. If I have 75 bandaged and then I have 50 minis, am I in one shot?
Yeah.
Where am I at? And I think that's where you have to balance everything around is those types of numbers. And I think this was a big assist. It's still insane. Like it still packs a wallop.
Yeah.
Like don't get twisted about it. It's still a wallop it's that face punch. Like it still hurts. But I think this was nice, and I think it'll be nice to see what that does. Like will it continue its relevancy with this little nerf? Or I like it.
Sure. I guess I don't hate it. I still think the double barrel is still like such a strong item. I see a lot of people saying like, what's the point of having it in the game? I don't think they've experimented with enough. I played a lot with it a lot today. It's still just as powerful.
Yeah.
It's not overkill anymore. It's kill now. Like it's not overkill. Um, I was shocked in this patch that they didn't do anything else to bring the other shotguns up.
Mhm.
That's where I thought the problem lied. I didn't think the problem was in the damage of the double barrel. I thought it was in the lack of damage from the other shotguns that just made it feel like way
Yes.
such an imbalance, man.
Yes. But that's the thing is as soon as you buff those other shotguns, does the double barrel even have a place?
Um, I actually think it does because I think it is the up close face punch because of how fast you can do 2 shots back to back.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think that honestly, here's what needs to happen with the shotguns. We need to vault the pump shotgun so we could balance all the other shotguns. That is what needs to happen. Like I firmly believe that they
Wow.
don't know how to balance all the shotguns together. So we need to get rid of one of them so that we can balance the others.
Daquan wants 2 pumps, Drunky wants no pumps. Let's go. Battle of the ages.
Give me the heavy shotgun, up the damage. I'm good to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk about the audio real quick before we jump into the locations.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the audio changes?
I've been dying for vertical audio cues. I'm really excited about that part of it. I think the Doppler issue with the the gliders is not perfect yet. It still seems weird. I haven't figured out how that's working. People have been opening up. I'm like, where the hell? What's going on? But the up and down in buildings has been fantastic. I'm like, I can actually tell that this guy's above me. I actually know in Tilted Towers there's a guy above me and there's no one below me. That is a blessing. That is, and it seems so obvious. Like, where has that been all our lives? It only took us 6 seasons, a full year, pretty much. Like, come on, guys. Thank you. Keep working on your audio. You're not there yet, but thank you. You're making strides.
Yes, this is a huge improvement. I kind of wish all the people that are dropping at Loot Lake would drop into Tilted so I can really put the audio to a test, because there's just Tilted's a little empty right now because of the big draw over at Loot Lake. But it is like you're saying, like being able them putting so much echo on the like being below you was like a genius. Like, I'm not an audio person. I don't know if this is what actually makes it sound like it's below. They did some work. It does feel a lot better. I just wish, are you below me and to my right? Are you below me and to my left? I would like to know.
Yeah, I mean, baby steps. We're on the right direction. They're moving us in the right direction. We're not at Counter-Strike yet, but we'll get there.
What do you think about the Battle Pass overall? Tons of new skins, tons of new additions to the game. What's your favorite skin coming out of this?
Yeah, everyone's always going to be like, is the battle pass worth it? And I say unequivocally every time, yes, and more worth it than ever. This is one of the best battle passes I have seen. I think right out the gate, you get Calamity, and it's probably one of my new favorite skins in general. It is so good. And I love the upgrades. She turns into like a Van Helsing. It's awesome. Yeah. It's really, really cool looking. So she's like a farm girl who turns into Van Helsing for the audio folks. She's really, really cool. You get that DJ Yonder skin. You get the Red Riding Hood skin. You get freaking so much stuff. I love it. I even like the goth Dusk or something her name is. She's cool. And then you cap it all off with, you get to play as Michael J. Fox from Teen Wolf. Are you joking? I am going to play the tier 2 of that skin forever. It's another upgradable skin. It starts off as like just a dude in a red jacket and ends up as a Wogren from WoW, pretty much, like, because it's Blizzard, I guess. Yeah. But oh my God, tier 2 looks perfect. It's the Michael J. Fox transforming into a werewolf. It's perfect. I want it. I love it. I think this is a great battle pass. I think they knocked it out of the park in terms of the design. We can talk about the pets. We want to talk about the pets?
Yeah, real quick, what I love about the battle pass though with the skins is it feels like the skin progression, the closer, like the deeper we get to the battle pass, the closer we're going to be to Halloween. And it feels like the battle pass gets more and more Halloween, like at like the 50 range, like the 50 tiers are like Halloween based. Like, oh, great idea there.
It's very themed for Halloween. It's a spooky battle pass for sure.
It's definitely, I think it's my favorite battle pass. I like a more cohesive theme. And like the Halloween theme just seems to work throughout from front to back. They did add pets. Pets are the brand new addition. 2 seasons ago, we got the contrails. Last season, we got the toys. This time, we are getting pets. Pets replace your back bling slot. And these pets come in a variety of 3. There are dogs, there are chameleons, and there are dragons that can ride along your back. They are emotive. They are responsive to what you're doing in the game. Flood, dude, how adorable are these pets?
They're freaking adorable. I'm going to give you that. They're freaking adorable. And that, like, when you're aiming down your ADS, the dog is like growling a little bit. And when you jump, they jump and stuff. The coolest one is the chameleon. When you pick up a blue, it turns blue. When you pick up a green, it turns green. That's cool. I'm never going to use them.
What?
Never going to use them,
dude. You're not going to use
this? It's animated back bling, bro. There's so many other back blings that I love. I wish it was kind of, again, like WoW, not to bring it up yet again, where like they run around beside you. I want that would be a nightmare for like the engine, I'm sure, and performance, but I don't want to give up my sweet wings. I got awesome dragon wings. I'm not giving them up. They're awesome.
Not that cool. Your dragon wings.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. I'm a White Walker from Canada. Don't even mess with me.
All right, when I first ADS'd in with that dog on my back and like he had that like mean looking face, I was like, oh, we're riding together. We're down.
Ride or die. They're so cute. I know. Oh, they're so cute. Damn it.
So everyone always asks me on stream, like, should I buy the battle pass? This one is 100%. Like, you should have bought it when it first came out. Like, this is the best battle pass I think they've released to date, to be honest with you.
I regret not buying the tiers. That's how much I love this battle pass. Like, the battle pass is always worth it. You get the V-Bucks back. If you have any interest in skins, this is the way to do it. Buy the battle pass. The glider with the bat glider, so cool, man. It has a giant bat that comes off, little swarms and trails and stuff. It is so badass. They knocked this battle pass out of the park. Design-wise, so good. They even have emote jokes with ready to go, where he covers his groin and has to pee. The Running Man meme. It's filled with just like great emotes, great skins, great design. I love it.
All right, let's move on to the map changes. The
Mm,
biggest map change, let's not bury the lead on this one. Loot Lake. Kevin has resurfaced from underneath Loot Lake to lift the house in the middle in a whirling tornado. This Loot Lake is not in Kansas anymore, Flood. This thing is up in the air. You are able, it has a jet stream of air coming from the very base of it to the top, so you can run to the bottom of it, opens up your glider, and lifts you all the way to the top of the house. How
yep.
insane is
Nutty.
this?
It's nutty. Kevin's back with a vengeance. He got angry, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, it's amazing. It's so cool. I called floating islands, though this is not where I expected it. But yeah, they rifted up a piece of Loot Lake, and now there's like a tunnel of water going in. And I was actually scared to walk on it the first time. I was like, do I just get sucked in and die? Like, what's going to happen here? But you can actually fight down there, as you pointed out. Kevin is floating the mansion, and it's really cool. The effect of being able to run in and have your glider and just pop up.
Yep.
That's been really cool transportation wise through that for the rotations in terms of gaming. Like I can land in Pleasant, I can still fly up because of
Yep.
Loot Lake now instead of having to bounce across. It's really, really cool. It looks awesome.
It
I don't know what else to say. I'm pumped about it. I think it's really neat. Oh, and you turned me on to some things about this. You get into this.
Oh, I absolutely love this area, man. One of the coolest things that is still able to, Kevin still retains his anger. If you shoot the
Mm,
cube below it, he still shoots lightning bolts at people. It is
which I did
speculated.
not know.
It is speculated by Monster Deface on his stream. He found a map bug where it showed on his mini map that the island was actually floating above Salty Spring and not Loot Lake. So there's possibilities that this Loot Lake area is not going to be the final resting place for this island for the rest of the game or the season. It might be moving around.
Kevin loves to travel, man.
He gets around. He's a moving cube. He's hip.
Man about town.
He's not square. He's into it. Uh, I actually love this area. I think it's gonna be really fun to play in like a week from now once the hype dies down around it and 30 people aren't dropping there to begin with because it really can't handle that many people. Um,
Yeah.
I love underneath it. I think the amount of loot there is crazy good. I think that it adds, kind of the sunken stuff like the temples. Like it's just a super fun area to fight in.
Yeah, I think they're really getting turned on to the idea of what you've always loved. This reason we both loved Shifty Shafts in the beginning was that verticality and that interesting area to fight. They did the same thing to Tomato Temple. They made it, added some fun verticality, added some interesting places to fight. It's a new interesting place to fight where it wasn't just towers and fields. Now we've actually got some verticality and some nooks and crannies, and it's more interesting. It's more fun.
Yes, and I actually really love that they're understanding that like we want to glide more than just the very beginning of the game. This
Yeah,
thing is like a super rift that never runs out. It's in the middle of the map. You can rotate through it, hit the top of it, and go to the next circle. Move really fast and like not make a big deal out of it. And then people aren't gonna, it's not like a rift where someone's gonna burn all the rifts early game. This is a
yeah,
rotation that is there to stay until the circle cuts it off.
love that.
It is one of the most impressive set pieces I've ever seen in gaming.
Hmm.
All right. Next thing, the haunted castle, kind of to the east of the haunted or the graveyard. I forget what they exactly
I
call
call
it.
it the graveyard, but it's Haunted Hills. I just couldn't think of it earlier. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Okay. So
Either way, the Haunted Hills graveyard,
yeah,
whatever. There's a castle above it now. It's very spooky.
it is very spooky. It's very very tall castle on a very very tall mountain. I'm surprised they went with this high of a castle.
They
Uh,
added rifts. They had to.
there you go.
That mountain has rifts that it didn't used to have, which I thought rifts were going away, but they still have rifts now. And that mountain never had rifts before, and now it does, which is interesting.
Have you played it all the haunted castle at all? Or
I have not. I haven't had a chance to jump the Haunted Castle yet. I don't know why. I kept forgetting. It's not an area of the map I ever go, and I guess I still haven't acclimatized myself to the fact that, oh yeah, I guess I'm supposed to go there now.
it's a very awkward spot because it's very high up, it's very vertical. There's a lot of different levels, but there's not a lot of mats there. So
Hmm.
it's like for early game rotation, you're kind of be in trouble. It's going to be really hard to fight there. Next up, probably the biggest change that wasn't like designed around like a whole area being uplifted.
Yeah,
Wailing Woods has been completely um
updated.
updated from like every corner of it's been updated.
Yeah, they
Um
added some new little log cabins. They redid the maze. It's not a maze anymore. Now it's like a secret to a fortress, and
it's a
like you
full
have
on
an underground base at the
Yeah.
bunker. The bunker that we've always been speculating about, the lost bunker, still closed.
Yeah,
not a thing. But every one of I don't know how much you traveled around in here,
a
but
lot.
every single one of the lodges pretty much has a bunker underneath it of some description, and some of them are connected with the same assets that they used in Dusty before, like the big tubes that are
Mhm.
hermetically sealed and the little open doors, hatchways, and stuff. Really, really neat, really fun. I love it. It's all like crazy and secretive, and there's weird stuff to discover.
Yes.
I think it's really just the most fun, and oh man, it's playful in the best way possible. I'm so down with the new whaling.
The new whaling, all these there's all these tunnels that are like incomplete underneath it. It seems like they're going to be connecting them throughout the season, and this is
Hmm.
going to be like a underground like PvP area where it's like our first taste at like a tunneling system where it's like if there's a circle there late game, it might get really awkward to be able to fight over there. Not only have they actually made the maze a little bit more structured, they actually added a lot of metal to this area. Um,
Yes.
this is like the best material game in the entire map. You're going to be coming out of early game whaling with 900 wood, 500 brick, 500 metal with all these additions. All these log cabins we're talking about, each one of them has about 2 to 3 chests added to it. This is a complete revamp of the Wailing Woods. And like it's a little bit overpowered. If you like dropping Wailing Woods will probably secure you a top 5 finish every time you drop there if you can make it out early game. It is insane.
I'm eager to try that because my initial reaction was, this is awesome, but I don't know if this is going to change my usual rotations. Like, I don't know if I'm going to start dropping there on the regular, but I think it's going to be, it's really fun. It's really interesting. And I'm hoping that it actually does become that, where
Mm,
it becomes relevant, because that's another corner of the map, not unlike Junk Junction, Haunted Hills, where I
yeah.
never go. There's no point. There's so little there.
Oh, it's honestly in the competitive scene been one of like the most sought after drop spots. Team Liquid usually are the ones that lock it down because the
Okay.
meta game is just so easy there, and being able to fight people early game with all the maze like stuff it's a
Yeah.
really special spot. And I do think it becomes one of the best rotations. I don't think you want to drop it risky anymore. I think you're wanting to drop whaling, and I think
Yeah.
you want to rotate to cargo retail, or you want to go through tomato over to the lazy side. Like those are the rotations you're looking for
That makes a lot of sense. I was a risky guy, but maybe I'm in for a move.
now.
Going into the woods, baby. I also love that they mix the fairy tale with the like weird military, like underground. Like, I don't know, they keep doing this and I love it.
They're really good at it, man.
Oh,
The new
and combined with that, sorry, I got to jump
Sure.
in. They're also deteriorating the old stuff. We
Yes.
had the superhero mansion and we had the villain hideout slowly deteriorating. So while we have new bases and bunkers, the old ones that are similar assets, bases and bunkers, getting deteriorated, phasing out season 5 sort of gracefully, as it's deteriorating the same way Dusty did. It's a minor thing. No one was going to those spots anyway. Who cares?
Yeah. Also, a little tiny updates around the map. The destroyed building and tilted is already starting to be reconstructed upon. The insides are being gutted. Hopefully, with some pallets there soon in the next
Hmm.
update. Fingers crossed. Additionally, the in between the fishing store and the bookstore in retail, there's a new Halloween store.
Yeah, I love that.
How adorable is that?
It's so cute. The little display can have a chest on it, and it's got
Yes.
the little boo ghost. It's so freaking cute.
Oh,
Love it.
I love
I
Blizzard.
love the playful touches that they have, man.
Yes,
And actually, the most important change in the entire map, Kevin the Cube ran over a tiny shack north of Fatal Fields.
I
They
love
have
this.
they have put a couple walls up. They're finally rebuilding that shack. That shack is finally getting some love.
Dude, Fatal Fields, what do you think about the corn stalks?
I love the corn stalks. Let's talk about corn stalks. I
Oh,
think
dude, you're a big Dead by Daylight player. I totally thought about you. I was like, oh man, I'm not going here with the flood. He's all
yeah,
into this
man.
stuff.
My biggest fear is going to be the corn campers, the people who are going to hang out in that corn and just like hide, because you are completely invisible in that corn. You
Yep.
walk in, but you also can't see anything, so it is
Mhm.
sketchy as all hell. You can harvest it, but it gives you very little mats and it takes a long time, so it's not worth it. But there's definitely going to be people fighting in those cornfields, and it makes Fatal way more interesting
Yep.
because now you can't see clear across it. It's not endless garbage fields that are no fun to be in. Now Fatal is a really scary and interesting spot. There's tension. It's going to be more interesting to fight there. You're never 100% sure if you're safe. It is way more interesting. I love the corn. I think it's a really cool design choice.
Oh man, I'm just it's frightening. It is frightening
It's
running through there,
terrifying. I love it.
especially with like the new shadow mode. Mm-mm.
Yeah. All of a sudden you're in the cornfield and boom, ghosts. It's the best. That's what you want, though. You want tension and excitement. That's what makes a game fun, man.
Absolutely. You have a point there. Man, this is scary. That does it for the patch 6.0 season 6 patches. Real
Mhm.
quick, let's talk about the fall skirmish. It started last week with a duos competition. Um,
Yeah.
you know, long story short about that, it was a really hard format that a lot of people had hard time struggling in. I
Mhm.
didn't get any points in it, but like neither did like Nate Hill or whatever. So whatever, it's no big deal. I was like the initial players. Let's not talk about it.
And it kind of encouraged a little bit more careful play, which is a little bit slow things down a little bit in my mind.
Yeah, a lot of games ended with like 60 players at the rotating circle. So like circle 7, I think it would be,
Yeah.
which is those servers having a rough time, man. Those servers are having a rough time.
Yeah. And
Uh,
that's not the most fun, engaging kind of thing to watch either. Like, I don't love that format.
No, and it's the first time that they introduced a spectator mode, so you no longer saw the perspective from the player. Is more so from overarching spectator. Sometimes you could go to the point of view, but what you would not see is like the edits that they were about to make. So I think it kind of like took away a lot of the what are they thinking? The broadcasters really had to do an extra job. Like, oh, you might do this, you might do that, and I just think it took away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. The biggest problem with like professional Fortnite play is that it is not played how Fortnite is played. If you watch Counter Strike professional play is just like regular Counter Strike play. It just except on a on a much higher level.
Yeah.
More minute details matter. Here it's like a completely different game. Uh,
Hmm.
Fun to play in. I don't think it's going to be a good spectator this format. But
Not that format.
the biggest change to the skirmishes, every player involved in the skirmishes were sorted into 5 different clubs. There are 500 players total. There are 100 players in each of these clubs. What do you think about this club system and there being an overall like club winning at the end?
Well, I mean, I'm still waiting to find out which club I'm going to get sorted into by the sorting hat, but my invite may be in the mail. I don't know. Our esports professional friend Drunky here in the Rift Raiders. What?
Sorting
I think
hat.
this is.
Please don't be Lucky Llamas. Please don't be Lucky Llamas.
Drunky mustn't return to fall skirmish. I think it's great. I think it was a really clever idea. I think they're actually borrowing a little bit from Overwatch in terms of being able to have some emotes on their channels that they can sell. They need teams, they need stuff, they need merch, etc. It makes the whole competition start paying for itself a little bit because they are just basically pouring money out into it. But I think it's overall really fun because it gives a game on top of the game. It's not just about the individuals anymore, which is always what Fortnite has been built around. We've talked about that. It's about individual characters and streamers. That's what built Fortnite.
Yeah.
But now they can also extend that. That's still very relevant, but now there's also these overarching teams that people can start cheering for and getting behind. And I think that's fun. It also adds a meta game to the game where there's this beyond just the main tournament. You also have these other events where you're trying to rack up kills, and that's fun. It adds just a whole other layer that I enjoy. I think that's the best part of the skirmish. I didn't like that previous format, but that'll change week to week. I don't care. I think this whole sorting hat system is good.
I agree with you. I think it does like add like a separate thing. Like, 3 of my favorite streamers are in the bush band. It's like I'm just gonna rep bush bandit emotes all the time. It didn't allow them to introduce things that they're calling the trials, which are like midweek competitions that aren't like part of the main tournament. They're separate like side tournaments. This week was like the top frag who can have the highest squad frag in a public lobby.
Mhm.
And they broke the world record 4 times, I think.
Just
Uh,
back to back. It never stopped going. It was crazy.
it was crazy. The highest one being 59 kills coming from some European gentlemen. 57 from the Rift Raiders with Tfue and company.
Woo! Let's go Rift Raiders.
Let's go Rift Raiders. Uh, like it's just crazy the amount of kills, and like I love that they're doing that separate side stuff. It involves the community all week long.
Exactly. It keeps everyone engaged beyond just the main Friday, Saturday event.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for the update. We are out of time for the day. We're running actually a little bit over. Sorry for people who like to keep this brisk. It was season 6. What are you gonna do?
Thanks for sticking with us. It was a big day.
Yeah. That's episode 6 of the Fortnite update. You can find me on twitch.tv/drunky and my co-host, The Flood.
Twitch.tv/The Flood.
If you're watching this video on YouTube and you liked it, make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to the channel. All of our audio listeners, make sure you leave a 5-star rating on the podcast and a review for everyone to find us.
Thank you so much for that, guys. It really helps us out.
All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys next week for episode 7. Bye.
And let us know what you want us to talk about in the future. Drop those comments. Talk to us. Get engaged. Become part of the update. Let's get updated together. We love you.